So here's an interesting question for you. Is it okay to seek the very best support for the police recruitment process? It's a question one of my clients asked me this week, and they're a little bit concerned because they thought they might be doing something wrong. So I thought I'd make this quick video just to reassure you that it's perfectly okay. It's perfectly okay. Indeed, right in front of me here on my laptop, I've got an email from an inspector who's from People Services and Operational Development in a particular force, asking me if I can run workshops for positive action candidates to help support them through the police recruitment process. And that's not the first time I've been approached. I've been approached by a few forces over the past year. I've said no, by the way, because running a workshop on its own is not the solution to ensuring that you recruit more people from diverse backgrounds. There's a lot more that needs doing. So I've said no to the forces who see that as the solution. I'm still to speak to this inspector here to see exactly what they want, but if it's just a workshop on its own, the answer is still no. And the reason being is because it needs a lot more than that, and I'm not prepared to engage in a process that I just don't think will have a lot of value and worth in terms of what the force is aiming to do. It needs a far broader set of solutions than that, in my opinion. But anyway, that's just an example of the sort of support that I've been asked in the past and asked today to offer to police forces. So there you go. If there's anything so wrong about getting my support, well, we better have a word with those police forces, eh? Similarly, Deputy Chief Constable sent their son on one of my courses last year. This year, I've had a Chief Constable's son attend one of my courses. Actually, the Chief Constable sings Bluelight's praises. North Yorkshire Police, on their recruitment documentation, actually say go to Bluelight Consultancy. So there you go. So it must be okay for them as well. And in my Facebook support group, and you can find a link to it below, there are several individuals from HR departments and police forces and recruitment teams who are members of that Facebook support group who openly offer their support in that group for people who are applying to join the police. They see it as an excellent vehicle to reach out to candidates to attract them to their particular force. So is there anything wrong with seeking the very best support? Well, if you've made that up in your head and you're telling yourself that it is, then my guess is no amount of persuasion from me is going to tell you otherwise. But I just thought it was a really interesting question, and one that I thought I'd throw out there really just to see what people think, because if you're applying for any role in any organisation, would you not want to seek the very best support? So if I was in my early 20s again, and as I did, so I applied for the Royal Navy and the police on the same day, my very cocksure attitude as a 21-year-old, whichever one accepts me first is the one I'll join. So actually the Cheshire Constabulary were first off the post, and they offered me a position before the Royal Navy did. But I've got to say, I really enjoyed doing the Admiralty interview board, the 2-day process, which was to be an officer for the Royal Navy. I got through it, but the one thing I had prior to that was some support because I was in the reserves for the Royal Navy, so I got a load of top tips off officers who were already serving in the Royal Navy and in the Royal Naval Reserve who had been RN officers before. So I guess back then I was getting the very best support that I could find to help me through that process. There's nothing I do that isn't ethical. All I do is I show you different models and structures of how to approach the various exercises that you're going to come across in the police recruitment process, and all of them are from the world of policing, or from, so for example, for the day one assessment centre, where I know ethically you're going to deal with an early intervention situation as part of one of the role plays. So I introduced motivational interviewing theory, which is from the world of clinical psychology. So I've studied all of this stuff over the years, and all I do is I bring this massive knowledge and understanding of how to approach different situations to you, and I present it to you in a way that is going to make sense for group exercises, role plays, interview, written exercises, psychometric exercises, you name it, I've got a structure for it. So it doesn't matter whether the College of Policing or a police force changes the structure of the questions or the role plays. It doesn't matter what they do, these structures work. I know they work because as an operational police officer for 28 years, I've used most of them. And I've seen officers utilising these techniques. So things like 5WH in a simple to complex way, CUDSAR, the non-contact conflict management model, the discipline welfare training triangle, how to challenge people's behaviour. All of those models and structures are taken straight from the world of policing and other sectors. So that's what I present to you. You know, I'm not going to give you the answers. I have been asked before, could you provide an answer for me for this question? And the answer's been no. And I've said no to a few clients as well. One or two of them I've had to give a refund to, because what they were looking for is something I couldn't provide. They wanted me to provide answers for them for the interview questions. And that's not what, I'm not prepared to do that. You know, that's just not ethical. I think I hold a very strong ethical barometer. I'm not quite sure if some forces do. So, you know, should I, I'll name and shame, why not? Metropolitan Police about 3 years ago gave their positive action candidates 4 or 5 questions that they should practice for the assessment centre. Turns out that 4 of those questions were actually the questions at the assessment centre. And they've not changed. You know, the questions have been the same for over 4 years. Forces out there preparing people, over-preparing people for the role plays in terms of giving them scenarios that are very close to what I think they actually might be. Because I triangulate all of this information and work out on your behalf what the role plays might involve, and then I present it to you. It's in the public domain. It's been shared by police forces. Diffid Powers Police last year went as far as giving their positive action candidates the marking guides for the interview and for the role plays. It had College of Policing sensitive marked on them. So I'm not quite sure if these behaviours are entirely helpful, especially the marking guide, because I understand it. I've got a Masters in Education where I studied personnel evaluation systems, and I've got years of practice in this field, operational practice in this field from the time I was in the training area in the police. I used to train trainers, train the trainers of trainers, and I was on the strategic steering board that was looking at introducing occupational standards and qualifications back in the early noughties. So that's my background. I understand that marking guide. But if I didn't and I saw that marking guide, I'd just get incredibly confused. So I think some things that forces do just aren't helpful. So anyway, there you go. I hope that reassures you. But I mean, you know, if you absolutely believe that it's the wrong thing to do, then, you know, I'm not going to be able to change your mind, nor do I want to. But I suppose the thing to say is it's a confusing landscape out there. 43 forces all adopting their own different ways of doing things. It's just a bit of a mishmash, and you could be forgiven for being confused by it. Only this week, I've had a candidate who's attended a positive action workshop use the lines that I suggest for the introduction to a role play, and was told, you sound too much like a customer services officer and not enough like a police officer. Whereas they're asking you at the assessment centre to role play a customer services officer. And then similarly, another client of mine for a completely different force attended another positive action workshop and was told, you sound too much like a police officer. You should be behaving more like a customer services officer, which I find really bizarre, because you're being assessed against your behavioural skills and values to be a police officer. You sound too much like a police officer? I just don't get that. So, look, it's confusing. Let me help you clear up that confusion. Check the links below to my courses, my one-to-ones, my seminars. The seminars are just amazing, by the way. You'll love them. And come and join us. Come and join us in the Facebook support group. Just find out a little bit about what it's all about. There's almost 8,000 people there. I've got almost 100 mentors, people who are already serving officers now, who have been through the process with my support. They're now serving police officers, and they're prepared to give their time for nothing for you to help you through the recruitment process. And in turn, I give my time for them for nothing to help them develop the most amazing careers ever. Almost 8,000 people in the Facebook support group. Come and join it. Come and join it. You don't have to sign up for anything just yet. Come and join it and see what you think. Let us help clear up the confusion. So I shall see you soon. I hope you've got something out of this video. I'll catch up with you next time. Bye bye for now.